I'm currently in the process of working on my third Josh Allen polystream drawing. This time I'm basing it off an image of him wearing a Buffalo Bills baseball cap. In the afternoon, I considered doing Josh Allen in his away colors, but ultimately I've decided I'm going to draw him in his home colors for the Buffalo Bills. I contemplated doing the away colors because I've already done the home colors twice now. I was thinking of doing it differently that way, but I ultimately decided to do the home colors in order for it to be easier to recognize that Josh Allen is in the Buffalo Bills. I recall starting work on the drawing around 7 p.m. at the earliest. And it's currently 9:50 p.m. I'm at that stage where I'm just establishing it, which is always the hardest part of not only any polystream drawing, but for just about anything. So the hardest part is always starting. I used the picture of my second Josh Allen drawing to ultimately decide where to start the beard and how to shape it. What I'm doing currently is I'm going to be drawing his face in, starting with his beard. I've pretty much completed the solid parts of his beard, where I can just color it. I can first make the outline with an ultrafine brown Sharpie marker, and then fill in that outline using a fine-tipped brown Sharpie marker. Now there's the parts that I kind of have to depict using an ultrafine brown Sharpie marker, because those parts of his beard, his facial hair, aren't solid. this image I'm using to get an idea of what his facial hair and that baseball cap looks like. It's from Getty Images, and it's the image that comes up when I search Josh Allen off of Bing. The Buffalo Bills logo is relatively simple in design, but it's always a bit daunting to do it because I like to try to get it as exact as possible in terms of its shape and proportions. Perhaps what makes it so difficult is that I freehand everything. And that's kind of how it has to be, given the inherent nature of a permanent marker, which is what I use to draw on these pieces of polystyrene. This garbage plate is one of two great plates that Dan and I got from our local Bill Gray's. They're the franchise that claims to have the world's greatest cheeseburger, but I don't know. There are a lot of different franchises that serve cheeseburgers, although these are pretty good. They had a flat screen TV that was running animated ads featuring satiate burgers and fries playing sports, and as a sort of way to demonstrate that their burgers are the world's greatest by beating an enemy team consisting of all the other burgers. The American football one had depicted him, the burger player for the Bill Gray's team, had just plowing through the defense for yet another touchdown. Which awards 6, not 7 points. That 7 points comes from the extra point kick, which is assumed by some as a gimme because kickers almost always make the extra point. But it's not a gimme because the operative word is almost always. I think that animation showed the Bill Gray's team had 154 points, according to my recollection. which is technically possible to score in a football game. But I don't think that's happened in at least 50 years. But I haven't extensively researched the scores of all past American football games, so don't quote me on that. I think they also had one for baseball. In soccer, I'm not 100% sure, but it was for other sports. Not just American football. Bill Gray's also still has that, still uses those vibrating discs that vibrate when your order is ready. This milk is from a gallon Dad got at Henry's Convenience Market immediately after we got the garbage plates. This was in the mid to late afternoon, between 4 and 5 p.m., because around 3:30 p.m., we went to the Wegmans next to Mom's place, specifically the Bruegger's Bagels next to that local Wegmans, in order to deliver a commission I made for a man, in which I drew Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, though his wife made the pickup, and I was given $40 for the drawing. Which I'm quite grateful for. And there may be future commissions from those commissioners. I first got that commission at the Emerging Artists Expo at the Cornhill Arts Festival. Before Dad and I made a stop at Mom's place. I think this was around 3:15 p.m. 3:15 p.m. was when we left. So maybe we got to Mom's place around 3:23 p.m. And then 4 minutes later, we were at the Bruegger's Bagels location that was near the local Wegmans next to Mom's place. We got that Aaron Rodgers drawing from my room at Mom's place. We also got the third Santa Claus drawing. My third Santa Claus polystyrene drawing, which we'll deliver to Dad's mom tomorrow. And before that, we donated blood at our local American Red Cross Center, donation center, from roughly 1:20 p.m. to 2 p.m. The donation went smoothly, pretty much the same as always. Including my usual aftermath footage video or vlog. For these, I like to have the TV channel changed to a news channel, since because the news is factual rather than creative. Like a TV show, I figure I'm less likely to get flagged for copyright if I film the audio of a news segments rather than episodes of a TV show or commercials. This is what my arm looks like now. And this middle finger. For the hemoglobin test, aka the finger prick test, they always choose the middle finger. Presumably because it's the longest finger. I took the wrap band-aid off, which I assume is the red one, wrapped around my arm, meant to support the strip band-aid, which is just the normal band-aid. I took the wrap off a handful of minutes before 3 p.m. I got the confirmed delivery call I think around 2:50 p.m. while we were going back from the blood donation. We stayed until around 3:15 p.m. And I kept the strip band-aid on until about 7 p.m. Then the band-aid wrapped around my middle finger, the top of it, aka probably the hemoglobin band-aid. That's just my nickname for it, that I just made up. I think I took that off around 6 p.m. I felt that they had to put the needle in pretty close to the top of my elbow. It felt like it was close to something, but I was ultimately perfectly fine. Though they initially didn't put the needle in quite right. So they then had to adjust the needle to get it better within the vein, which caused some pain, but nothing too bad. I had concerns it would lead to bruising, but ultimately it didn't lead to much bruising at all. I avoided having coffee prior to today's blood donation. I think I woke up around 10, maybe around 10:30 in the morning, but because it stayed cool today before getting warmer in the afternoon, to the point where in the afternoon it was actually quite nice and almost felt like summer without it actually being as hot as summer, because it's not summer anymore. I was pretty much wrapped in my blanket until about 12:30 in the afternoon, when I last got up, because we needed to leave. Because we got up so late, we couldn't go to Lakeside Haven or any other family restaurant, so we instead opted to go, instead of McDonald's, because we live somewhere else now, to a local Wendy's, where Dad got each of us a $5 biggie bag, which comes with a fountain drink, I think a medium fries, a 4-piece chicken nuggets, of which we got sauce packs that we decided not to use. 2 sauce packs. And our choice of a small burger, of which I chose the double stack cheeseburger, which was pretty good. For my fountain drink, I got the grape flavored sugar-free Powerade. Though I generally don't use that kind of machine very often, because I don't go to fast food restaurants very often these days, if at all. As such, I wasn't familiar with it, so when I initially tried to pour, I pushed against a sort of leather and accidentally opted to put ice in my fountain drink container. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. And then I was able to pour the drink I wanted in there by pushing a button and holding until it was at my desired fill level, which for me is near the top, but not to the point where there's a concern of it overflowing or spilling. If I put a plastic lid and a straw in, which I initially I didn't want to get, but Dad wanted me to get, due to concerns of that if I didn't get those things, I could potentially spill the liquid within his car. I got those things, but I didn't want to get them because I felt like I didn't need them, and it just ends up using more plastic in the end. At least that's the way I felt about it. I currently have some water in this bottle for me to drink. Since I donated blood today, and it's important for me to stay hydrated, especially since around 5 to 6 p.m. I had 2 cups of coffee, plain, that Dad made out of a pot that Dad made around that time. The main concern with coffee is that it dehydrates you, so I figure it's fine as long as you have extra water with it. Dad put this fan in my room at around maybe 8 p.m. as I was starting the third Josh Allen polystyrene drawing project. He did this as part of efforts to make this room less stuffy, which worked out pretty well. It's a comfortable temperature. It feels like room temperature, not too hot, not too cold. Not too long ago, I had a second glass of milk with that Great Plate from Bill Gray's that I finished. I was ultimately able to get the belly voice for Kate to finish the work that I needed to do on the 99th Dan Hammond episode before I got to the point where I felt like I needed to, where I feel like I need to draw on another polystyrene block, make another one of those prop characters in order to make the scene complete. But before I do that, I need to finish this third Josh Allen drawing. I found the bell voice, that text-to-speech voice, off of the Suppressal website demo. Which is the parent company of VoiceForge, the company that made VoiceForge, which I currently want to try to avoid using, even though I can get the app through my BlueStacks emulator, because there seems to be some kind of audio distortion between getting it off of BlueStacks compared to just getting it off of Rapper Offline. While we were waiting for our great plates at Bill Gray's, Dad suddenly got the idea of potentially getting milkshakes. But he ultimately decided against it because since he didn't include that with the initial order, we would potentially end up having to wait extra for it, and I didn't want to use any of the money I had just made to pay for my own milkshake. More likely, I would prefer to use the money I made to get either, most likely, more Sharpies, but also possibly maybe also some more polystyrene. The two sauce containers had the flavors of barbecue and sweet and sour that we got from Wendy's.